Afternoon in downtown Charlottesville, and we have a lot we're going to cover on the program today. Take a look at the screen for the viewers and listeners that watch the program for the headlines that we will assess, analyze, and chitter-chatter about. We have biotechnology and AstraZeneca building a multi-billion-dollar plant or headquarters in Albemarle County. The biotechnology industry, thanks to the Paul Manning Biotech Institute on Fontaine Avenue, is going to significantly change Charlottesville and Albemarle County. Ladies and gentlemen, we are seeing it already. We will talk about a multi-billion-dollar headquarters, ladies and gentlemen, in Albemarle County and AstraZeneca on today's program. We're going to break some news for you, the viewer and listener. And this news, I will give credit to number one in the family, Deep Throat, for passing this along to me. Yesterday, I get a little nudge digitally with some information from number one in the family, Deep Throat, about Jeff Levien. And that nudge includes information about his trophy holding 600 West Main, the apartments guys on West Main Street across from Public Fish and Oyster. They are now on the market for sale. 55-unit luxury mixed-use apartment community in the heart of downtown Charlottesville. 6,000 square feet of retail space. I did not know this. I follow this stuff closely and did not know this. The brokers that have this listing are not local to Charlottesville. There's tremendous upside here, and it begs the question, why is Jeff Levien, the Big Apple developer who has an estate in North Garden, who tried to take the Violent Crown on the downtown mall and turn it into an apartment tower that would have been the tallest building in the city, who is currently in a joint venture with a major hotel brand to bring a brand new hotel to downtown Charlottesville where the Artful Lodger and the Livery Stable are located. Why is Jeff Levien selling 600 West Main? Do we just simply chalk this up to money? Do we chalk it up to other motives, needing cash or capital to do his hotel project? Do we chalk it up to other motives that he's tired of dealing with the city of Charlottesville? Do we chalk it up to other motives that, look, he's got an opportunity to chase $1 and chase a payday and chase a return on investment, and that's what the man is doing. Regardless, 600 West Main, a trophy property that was created by Jeff Levien and Ivy Nate, is on the market for sale, and we will break that down on today's program. I'm going to ask on today's show, is Senator Creigh Deeds being ghosted by the UVA Board of Visitors? On the 15th of August, Creigh Deeds set a deadline. And the institutional senator said, Board of Visitors, specifically the rector and the vice rector, you have until August 15th to give me insight and answers to 46 questions that I've provided to you with weeks of advance notice. August 15th has come and gone. It is now 12 days from that deadline, and Creigh Deeds has heard nothing from the rector and the vice rector as it applies to the 46 questions and the answers that Creigh Deeds is searching for, specifically the role the Board of Visitors of the University of Virginia, the rector and the vice rector had, and the ousting of Jim Ryan as president of the University of Virginia, specifically the role the rector and the vice rector had with working in cahoots or conjunction with the Department of Justice to ouster Jim Ryan. We'll talk about that today. We'll talk AstraZeneca, building a multi-billion-dollar headquarters in Albemarle County. Biotechnology is going to revolutionize, radicalize a brand new Albemarle in Charlottesville. I've said that since before COVID. Biotechnology and data science will make this community more expensive than ever to live and will attract white-collar professionals from outside Charlottesville and Albemarle County into Charlottesville and Albemarle County, forever changing the housing stock, the price point of said housing stock, and the quality of life in this community. It has started with the Paul Manning donation for his namesake Paul Manning Biotech Institute, and it continues with AstraZeneca and leaked information that they are building a multi-billion-dollar headquarters in Albemarle County. We'll talk about that on today's show. Also on the program, we have housing activists, ladies and gentlemen, that are now doing their best to stop, to halt, to thwart, to throttle an 11-story student housing project on West Main Street. An 11-story student housing project, ladies and gentlemen, that will tower over public housing, specifically West Haven. A lot we're going to talk about on this show, including what this program has predicted will happen all along. It's not the wealthy in the city of Charlottesville that will directly be impacted by zoning, density, and development. It will be the financial margin and the areas of the city where the dirt is the most affordable that will be impacted. Here is yet another example. On today's program, we will highlight Albemarle County Public Schools, specifically Albemarle High School's new policy that if you want to attend home football games at Albemarle High School and you're 13 years old or younger, you now no longer can be dropped off for the home football games. There's 6 Albemarle High School home football games. And in years past, in decades past, in generations past, students of all ages, you see kids running around the gridiron on Friday night lights, unsupervised and unattended. We now have a new rule in place, a rule announced by Principal Damian Barfield yesterday, that county students, kindergarten through 8th grade, must be accompanied by a parent at all times during Albemarle High School home football games. A parent must be at the ticket window to buy the tickets for their son or daughters that are 13 and under, and the parents must buy a ticket for themselves, and the parents must stay with their sons or daughters ages 13 or younger throughout the entirety of the home football game. Furthermore, there will be no third quarter or fourth quarter entry allowed at Albemarle High School football games. Furthermore, there will be no re-entry of any capacity allowed at Albemarle High School home football games. And lastly, anyone that attends an Albemarle High School home football game must walk through a metal detector. I think these moves are brilliant. I continue to applaud Albemarle County Public Schools and Charlottesville Public Schools at the start of the year as they realize and roll out school resource officers, metal detectors, and improved safety mechanisms for our community. And I must emphasize, I have noticed on social media, activists in this community, and yes, they are activists, the Gillikins, one the head of the teacher union, one the head of Livable CVille, who are actively on social media bashing school resource officers and doxing these school board members that approved SROs at Charlottesville Public Schools, demanding that their social media following remember who voted yes for SROs come November in school board elections. I will say this, if there's a school board member that approved a school resource officer and voted yes during a school board meeting for a metal detector, or a school board member that is prioritizing the safety of students, they should be reelected. And these activists should be ignored. So much to cover on the program, ladies and gentlemen. I want to highlight the fact that we have a new show launching. Jeff Gaffney, ladies and gentlemen, a known commodity in this community. He's the CEO of Real Estate 3, a faith-based man, Jeff Gaffney, the leading point scorer, Jeff Gaffney, in UVA soccer history, will co-host a new show, ladies and gentlemen, with another known commodity, Wayne Frye. And Dr. Wayne Frye, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the best at human connection in this community, the senior pastor at Faith Christian Center International. Jeff Gaffney and Dr. Wayne Frye will launch a new show on the I Love CVille Network this Monday at 10:15 a.m. And that show, ladies and gentlemen, will air every Monday at 10:15 a.m. on the I Love CVille Network to establish brands in this community Jeff Gaffney, and Dr. Wayne Frye launching a new show on the I Love CVille Network, Mondays at 10:15 a.m. Judah Wickower, studio camera in a 2-shot, please. We have Creigh deeds either being ghosted, ignored, and castrated of power, or Creigh deeds waiting patiently at his desk for answers from the UVA Board of Visitors. Tomato, tomato, glasses half full, glasses half empty. We'll talk about that today. We have AstraZeneca, leaked information.
And Eli Lilly.
And Eli Lilly. AstraZeneca specifically building a multi-billion-dollar headquarters in Albemarle County. Eli Lilly doing so in Goochland County.
Yeah.
Both riding the coattails of the Paul Manning Biotechnology Institute.
Yeah.
The talent, the research, and innovation that will be birthed at the Paul Manning Biotech Institute.
Preparing for what's to come.
Preparing for what's to come. Eli Lilly and AstraZeneca are trying to get ahead of it by both investing multi-billion dollars into Albemarle County and Goochland County, respectively.
Yep.
This is the tip of the iceberg, ladies and gentlemen, on what biotechnology is going to do in Central Virginia. It's going to revolutionize and radicalize Central Virginia like we've never been seen before. We can talk about that today. We can talk about the Manhattan Big Apple developer, Jeff Levien, who's got his trophy property. Goodness gracious, this is sexy property. 600 West Main, 55 apartments, 6,000 square feet of retail space, and what I will say is the most important stretch of land in the city, West Main Street, something that connects the University of Virginia to the downtown mall. Jeff Levien's got this on the market for sale with brokers out of market. Goodness gracious. We can talk about that today. We can talk about the new show that we have on the program. We can talk about our pursuit of matchmaking viewers and listeners with office space in Charlottesville and Albemarle County. And no one has more office space at their disposal than the person you're listening to or watching right now. From $350 a month all the way to $4,000 a month. Office space that we can connect you with, viewers and listeners. DM me, email me, call me, reach out to me. Which headline most intrigues you today and why?
I'm interested in the discussion about Creigh deeds. Whether he's, you gave me a great mental image of him sitting at his desk, waiting by the phone for someone from UVA to call. Just sad.
Sad. Twiddling his thumbs.
I don't know if that's really the case, but it is.
Tapping his Mont Blanc pen on his mahogany desk. Tap, 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 tap.
We should all have.
When are the
like
rector
that.
and the vice rector going to respond to my 46 questions? I gave them a deadline of August 15th. Tap, 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 tap. I'm a senator. I've been in office for a generation. They're ignoring me. Do they think they're more important than me? Tap, 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 tap. Creigh deeds. The longer this goes on, the less influence and power he would seem to have.
I don't know if I agree with that.
August 15th deadline. It's August 27th and nothing's happened.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that on today's show. I think the lead of the program must be Jeff Levien, though. Let's put the screenshot on. Deep Throat, thank you for passing this on to me. Very connected, very knowledgeable, very intelligent man. A guy who's got a keen eye for investment opportunities. Jeff Levien, the Big Apple developer, who's got an estate in North Garden, who designed and developed alongside his better half, 600 West Main, Charlottesville, 55 luxury apartments, 6,000 square feet of storefront retail space. This is as Class A of a building and as Class A of an asset as you will find in the city of Charlottesville, except for maybe friend of the program, Jaffrey Woodruff's Code Building. Seems like he just finished this project. Did a little digging, did a little research, did a little reconnaissance. Go to Jeff Levien's Instagram, LinkedIn page, and I see a post, goodness gracious, just from a few years ago, where he's highlighting publication and content spotlighting 600 West Main in Adobe magazine, one of Bill Chapman and
Abode
and Blair Kelly's publication. And in Abode, they're spotlighting that West Main Street is growing up and that a New York developer and his artist wife share their vision for a more urban Charlottesville. And geez Louise, this guy had so much trouble bringing this project to market. He had to rebirth Blue Moon Diner. He took an institutional greasy spoon that's now closed, much to our sadness and disappointment, and reimagined it while keeping the same personality,
je ne sais quoi, charm that the greasy spoon has embodied for a generation. He then goes on the market and chooses to lease apartments at the highest clip in the region. He finds a friend of the program, Scott Link, to open a coffee shop there. It was called Rocket Coffee. And Scott Link's had some bad luck. He opened up Rocket Coffee at the beginning of COVID. Yeah.
That bad luck led to the closing of Rocket Coffee. He took that Rocket Coffee location and had an art gallery for his wife, where she could showcase her expression and her personality on canvas for the community to enjoy. I believe the bottle shop is there. If you had told me 25 years ago, if you had told me 20 years ago, and ladies and gentlemen, I've lived in this community for 25 years now, first arrived in Charlottesville as a first year at the University of Virginia, a JanSport backpack over my shoulder, a Samsonite by my side, camo cargo pants on my body, rainbow sandals on my feet, and a backwards trucker UVA hat on my head, maybe Ray-Bans around my ears. 25 years ago, I said right away, halfway through my first year, I was going to call this community my home. Now, 25 years later, I'm a husband. I have 2 wonderful children, absolute lunatics and maniacs, but wonderful. Own real estate, have businesses, get to spend 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week next to Judah. Maybe I enjoy it. I think Judah despises it. If you had told me 20 years ago, 15 years ago, Judah, that luxury apartments were going to be built next to the ABC store by the railroad tracks on West Main Street, next to the scary place that you didn't want to walk at night, I'd laugh at you. But that's what this Big Apple developer did. And he had success with it. And then he took this 600 West Main Street and he used it as a platform or as a launching pad to do other projects. Next thing we know, Jeff Levien wants to radicalize and revolutionize and change the downtown mall. Next thing we know, Jeff Levien is in the ear of another friend of the program. 15 years ago, as I was launching the I Love CVille brand, and my firm, guys, is 18 years old. But 15 years ago, we would go to bars around Charlottesville hosting, this was probably 16 years ago, Judah, I Love CVille Trivia. That's how I met Judah Wickhauer. We're at Kevin Kirby's Lazy Parrot Grill in the Food Lion Shopping Center on Pantops. This is Lazy Parrot 1.0. This is the smoking Lazy Parrot. We could smoke like a chimney inside. This was before Lazy Parrot and Kevin Kirby took over the space next to it. I'm not talking about the end cap where by Lloyd's Hallmark. I'm talking about Lazy Parrot initially expanded by taking the storefront space literally right next to the first iteration to add a non-smoking section dining room.
Yep.
Make it more family friendly. Probably 17 years ago, as I'm trying to grow this I Love CVille brand, I'd go to these restaurant owners and say, let me host trivia in your bar. What will be unique for this trivia that I will host, very different from Geeks Who Drink, is I Love CVille Trivia will only ask trivia questions tied to Charlottesville, Virginia. Questions like, where's the only escalator in the city of Charlottesville? What's the oldest brewery in the city of Charlottesville? We're the only wood-burning fireplaces in the city of Charlottesville. Questions like that. Name all the other counties touching Albemarle County. And we localized it, and boy, oh boy, did we have success. I think I was doing 4 or 5 nights of trivia a week. Paid cash money, free booze tab, free food. 17 years ago, get paid to go to the bars and close them down, talk about my business, hang out with chicks, sell some merchandise, cash under the table. This is a dream. Meet Judah Wickhauer there, dude sitting in the corner, chain smoking Camel Reds, pounded Jägermeister and Corona, working on an iPad with a style in his hand, doing graphic design. I'm asking, what are you doing here? I look at him like, this dude's got talent. How'd you figure this out? Savannah College of Art and Design. You want to come work for me, Judah? Here we are, nearly a generation later. Been here 25 years. And if you had told me then, if you had told me 20 years ago, 15 years ago, that some Big Apple developer was going to be able to put $150 million, $200 million into designing 600 West Main Street next to the ghetto, I would have laughed at you. But that's what he did. And then he platformed or trampolined that project into wanting to change the downtown mall. He forms a joint venture with Ian Duggar. I first met Ian Duggar while hosting trivia at the Lazy Parrot. Kevin Kirby at the Lazy Parrot had a foosball table, one of those tornado foosball tables, my favorite kind. And I pretty much skipped a boatload of class at the University of Virginia to play foosball, to shoot pool, to play poker, to gamble, and to be extremely entrepreneurial and to make a lot of money. I learned more at the University of Virginia outside of the classroom than I did inside of the classroom, and I made a boatload of money in those 4 years at UVA. A boatload of money, because I had to pay my way through school. And I meet Ian Duggar playing foosball at Kevin Kirby's Lazy Parrot. And next thing I know, Ian Duggar is telling me this dream he has of building a bar on family property next to the Artful Lodger. I'm like, you're going to build a bar at a place that has no windows next to the Artful Lodger in the shadows of the Omni Hotel? And he says, damn right, Jerry. Then I scored a goal on him. Then I scored a different goal on him. Then I scored a third goal on him. And then he bought me a Jägermeister and a Corona because he lost the game. And then he's telling me this story, and lo and behold, a little while later, he opens the livery stable. Livery stable's crushing it. It's got personality. It's got je ne sais quoi. It's got charm. It's got history. It's a great bar. It's got a great clientele, a locals bar, a dive bar. Jeff Levien approaches this Ian Duggar and his family and says, you know what? I want to buy this. I want to buy this whole shopping center. I want to give you so much money that you're going to walk away from the livery stable, something that is not just a business for you, but it's a lifelong dream for you. Something that you spend 5 or 6 days a night closing down and managing and running and having a good time in. And they're like, all right, you give it, you made us an offer we can't refuse. Money talks. Now he's building a hotel in the shadow of the Omni. He formed a joint venture with a national hotel brand. What is it, Deep Throat? A Marriott? A Hilton? Is that what's coming over there? Then next thing we know, Jeff Levien is going to tear down the Violent Crown, Judah. Mm-hmm. He's got a deal in place, a deal on paper to tear down a institutional movie theater and build the highest building that the city of Charlottesville's ever seen.
With the shortest floors.
With the shortest floors. To make the most
use of the space.
I was going to say the most money possible. There's the difference between Judah and me. The most money possible. Board of Architectural Review gives them resistance. City gives them resistance. Film lovers give them resistance.
The people running the cinema gave them resistance.
Gave them resistance. Now Jeff Levien, the Big Apple developer, as you're rotating those lower thirds on screen, putting that screenshot on screen, now Jeff Levien is selling or trying to sell 600 West Main. And as a good friend of the program, I'm just going to use his initials, texted me, JP. He says, don't forget, Jeff also owns the University Tire building right next to 600 West Main. Why is Jeff Levien, and no, Judah, he's not related to Adam Levine. Why is Jeff Levien selling 600 West Main, not even 7 years removed from his grand opening? Why? Is it money? Is it tired of working with the city of Charlottesville? Does he need capital for his hotel project? Is he tired of the politics? He owns the University Tire building right next to it. Mm-hmm. Why is he selling it? Deep Throat passed this information on to me. He says, I wonder what's up with that and what he is asking. That data would really help me understand whether non-student multifamily housing can pencil out to build in Charlottesville. Deep Throat also says this, 600 West Main is assessed at $25 million. Has like 53,000 square feet of residential, 6,000 square feet of commercial and underground parking. Deep Throat says that seems way below replacement costs, way below. Deep Throat says, so there's no doubt Jeff Levien will be asking well more than assessed value. $25 million assessment for 600 West Main. Jeff Levien, how in God's name is that assessed at $25 million? That's way below actual market value. Unless 600 West Main is 55 apartments, large chunk vacant. I would be very curious, Deep Throat, and any viewer and listener, JP, any viewer and listener, what the occupancy rate or what the vacancy rate is on 600 West Main. Would be very eager to know that. Bill McChesney watching the program. Jeff Levien probably got fed up with Charlottesville governance the same way Keith Woodard did on Water Street. Keith Woodard and his partners walked away from more than $1 million in underground infrastructure for a project they were trying to build on Water Street during the Nakiah Walker era, a terrible and tumultuous era for Charlottesville City, the Nakiah Walker area. Someone tell Nakiah Walker I said that. They walked away from more than $1 million of underground infrastructure because they wanted nothing more to do with governance of the city at the time. Yeah. Now you have a project that would have been a trophy on Water Street and the home to the farmers market, and nothing's materialized except for asphalt parking lots. Nothing. Look at what you got for us, Nakiah Walker. Perfect, the enemy of productivity. Deep Throat says residential occupancy is 100% at those 55 apartments. And he says, obviously, the commercial is not at 100%. So the 55 apartments are fully rented. What's the average rent on the 55 apartments, Deep Throat? Such a smart guy, Deep Throat. What's the average rent on the 55 apartments? Can I call it $3K a month average, Deep Throat? Is that, I want to build a conservative model. Can I call $3K conservative average on the 55 apartments in there? Let's use 3,000. I'd say that's a conservative number. 55 times 3,000, 165,000 times 12. 1,980,000 rent roll in the 55 apartments only. That's on a 3,000 average. He says use 2,500. All right, I'll use 2,500. 2,500 times 55. Conservative model. 137,500 on the apartments. 12 months, 1,650,000. 55 times 2,500. 137,500 times 12 months, 1,650,000 on the 55 apartments. And he's saying they're also probably monetizing the parking there. And the opportunity for the University Tire building next door to be assembled into that development if you want to. Mm-hmm. This was the project where, didn't they paint some kind of thing on the wall? It was homage to the neighborhood somehow, or was that Chris Henry's that they painted something on the wall in Fifeville on Dairy Market, Dairy Central? Didn't they on 600 West Main do some kind of artistic rendering on the wall that you see while driving down West Main Street? See if you can Google what that artistic rendering is. I want to know, and you, the viewer and listener, should know, and I have the daily progress. I have print, radio, and television watching the program. NBC 29, you're watching the show. CBS 19, you're watching the show. Daily progress, you're watching the show. Radio stations, you're watching the show. What you should be covering right now is 600 West Main Street being for sale. Cover that in your news cycle over the next 3 or 4 days, traditional media that watches the program. Rob Stockhausen, welcome to the broadcast. Commercial brokers of multiple firms, Tallheimer and Colliers, watching the show. John Blair has comments. Number 2 in the family, John Blair's photo on screen. Jerry, I cannot help but look at all of your headlines about 600 West Main and activists in the area and not recall the mural controversy about that property. John Blair, I love you. The man's ahead of me on what I'm talking about. That's how smart number 2 in the family is. And he has a question for Deep Throat. John Blair's watching on LinkedIn. Deep Throat's DMing me on Twitter. This is airing on 15 Facebook pages, 15 Twitter accounts, YouTube, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, LinkedIn, the Fountain app, the Rumble app. It's airing everywhere. It's the content source for the 300,000 person region. John Blair says, Deep Throat, a question for you. If you had the capital to build 100 apartments in the area, where are you building? Charlottesville City or Albemarle County? I think Deep Throat does have that capital. A question for you, Deep Throat. If you had the capital to build 100 apartments in the area, where are you building the 100 apartments, in the city or Albemarle County? That's John's question. And then I'll add to that question, Deep Throat, by saying, what kind of housing stock are you building? Student or non-student? And what's the stock look like? Oliver Kuttner's dream of building studio apartments near the downtown mall still strike me as something that would crush it. Studio apartments that rent for $2,000 a month near the downtown mall or in Midtown Charlottesville, that would crush. Kathy Galvin, the one-time city councilor who's an architect, she had a lot of influence about a decade ago over Charlottesville, Virginia. She kiboshed Oliver Kuttner's project. Newly minted, newly married Oliver Kuttner, beautiful wife. Kathy Galvin, friend of the program. Oliver Kuttner, friend of the program. Knows brother Fabian well. Knows dad Ludwig well. Know Beatrix well. John Blair says that mural on 600 West Main, J-Dubs, where the activists were giving them so much beef, it's a horse, a Mustang, with the words liberate on it. That's one on 600 West Main. A horse, a Mustang, with the words liberate on it. That got the people all angry. I love to put this on screen. Can they see what I'm holding up here? Let me see if I can zoom in to make it bigger. I'm gonna pull up my MacBook and put it in front of the camera so you, the viewer and listener, can see what's on 600 West Main. This is what when you're going by West Main Street by Public, can they see that?
Yeah, they can see that.
They see that Mustang with the word liberate?
Mm-hmm.
Explain to me, when you're building 600 West Main Street in Fifeville, in the middle of the Star Hill neighborhoods, in the middle of Star Hill and Fifeville, historically black neighborhoods, and you're a Big Apple Yankee developer, and you have a Mustang with the word liberate on there. Is that going to rankle some people? It certainly did.
I wouldn't think it would, but...
well, we live in Charlottesville.
We do.
We live in Charlottesville. Comments coming in faster than I can keep up with. Conan Owen, the owner of Sir Speedy of Central Virginia, says it's a horse mural. Conan knows. Sir Speedy of Central Virginia, ladies and gentlemen, you need signage, window decals, direct mail, the banner that's behind me, the step and repeat banners, Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. Conan owns a Darden graduate, and he owns a business, Sir Speedy of Central Virginia, that is a resource for this community if you need anything for visibility with your logo. Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. John Blair, Deep Throat, says, well, if the return profile were the same, Albemarle County every day and twice on Sunday. I think the return profile for student is going to be higher for sure. My only concern would be how much student product is just about to come on the market. I think where I would have built would have been on the site of Reed's. I think you could have had something there that is walkable to downtown or to UVA or to the hospital, and you stroll over to the Dairy Market, Cardinal Hall, Random Row. Crazy that this prime site is going to be a secondhand store. Still think the Reeds family made a mistake, not taking the Reeds property and actively listing it. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. They had an opportunity to take a grocery store site and to put it on LoopNet, on the commercial MLS, list it with a fantastic broker, tell me about it, and there would have been an effing bidding war of legendary proportions. Legendary proportions. Instead, the sisters that ran Reed's Grocery chose to strike a deal with a thrift store to convert Reed's into a thrift store. Make it make sense, Judah Wickower. Make it make sense. And that's a perfect segue, Jeff Levien and selling 600 West Main, to the project that's being percolated across the street, lower third on screen, Judah Wickower. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, an out-of-market developer, LV Collective, wants to build an 11-story student apartment tower that hovers and hides and towers as if it's Goliath standing over David. And in this scenario, the Goliath that's blocking the sun, and in this scenario, the Goliath that is impacting the psyche and the quality of life is the LV Collective and an 11-story student tower, and the David is West Haven. And all this David has, not a slingshot and not some rocks and not a target of someone's forehead, but their only weapon, the Board of Architectural Review. And this David, this West Haven, this public housing neighborhood, who already has the flats developed by Core and Capsule, the standard developed by, I believe, the same company that is trying to do this 11-story building at 843 West Main Street. All this little David has is a Board of Architectural Review that can potentially impact some setbacks or some design. But we know for certain that this 307 apartment, 708 bedroom project can move forward because the Board of Architectural Review does not have the say to squash this project.
Nor does Charlottesville. That's what the zoning ordinance was created to allow. Easier access to building things.
The new zoning ordinance created a path, or wanted to create a path, of frictionless development, or development that was less approval needed.
Yeah.
And the new zoning ordinance, ladies and gentlemen, they put caveats in play because they listened to the I Love CVille show and our commentary on ilovecville.com, and they heard John Blair's comments and Deep Throat's comments that if you pass this idiot new zoning ordinance, this moronic new zoning ordinance, this radical new zoning ordinance that was peer pressured and bullied by activists like Stephen Johnson and Matthew Gillikin. If you pass this zoning ordinance, people like me said they're going to create a world where the development community pursues the dirt and marginalized communities, black and brown communities, because that's where the dirt is more affordable. And then in the bottom of the 8th inning, city councilors who make about $18,000 a year, none of them who work in real estate, one of them at the time was living in his mother's basement.
You're waiting for me to say something.
They decided in the bottom of the 8th inning to offer some protection to financially marginalized and historically impoverished communities from a development standpoint. But what they did not do was offer that protection to West Main Street. I don't know how they didn't realize. Perhaps they did realize, but they thought that West Main Street is a gateway and the housing should happen there because it's a connector gateway with downtown, the hospital, UVA, and everything in the city. This apartment tower is going to happen. And all of Fifeville and all of Star Hill and all of the public housing around there and the Section 8 housing around there is going to have another apartment tower that blocks their sunshine, that steals their trees, their grass. Another apartment tower where the rugrats and the youngsters, the toddlers, the elementary school and middle school age kids will be looking at these apartment towers while swinging on rusty swings and on seesaws that barely teeter-totter back and forth because they're so crickety and rusty. And they're going to be looking up like this. And they're going to be like, man, who lives in those towers? And why do I live over here? I told a story last week, Peloton Station, owned by friend of the program, Curtis Shaver. Curtis Shaver, a great guy. I hope Curtis is watching the program. Curtis and Bill Hamilton and Greg Vogler own Peloton Station, where Guajiros is. And I used to go to Peloton Station all the time. My friend owned it. Devin Barchowski was there for happy hour. Other friends were there for happy hour. The fried pickle chips were amazing. And I'd go and I'd watch UVA on its way to winning a national championship. I watched the Final Four game there. My wife came and met me. And I watched these games and got to know the kids from West Haven that would come into Peloton Station because Curtis would give them a soda on the house or he'd help them with their bicycles as they were riding around the neighborhood. And these kids from West Haven would literally say to us, who lives in those towers? Why are they taking our sunshine? We talk about the people that are in those towers all the time and how they look down on us and yell things at us. And now there's going to be another 708 bedrooms and 307 apartments and another 11-story building. Goliathing the son away from David. JP sends texts. JP says student housing is great for tax base. It also takes pressure off some of the older residential units. More units help the overall rent stabilization. The precedent had already been set that high density would be along the West Main and major corridors. They are also required to pay a huge amount into low-income housing fund. JP, I got no problem with this 11-story building. I got no problem with this 708 bedrooms and these 307 apartments. I'm all for it. I live in Albemarle County in the Ivy area where this will never happen. My point throughout this whole entire conversation was my prediction before COVID that all this new development and zoning would impact the historically marginalized and the black and brown community. And it would never impact North Downtown. It would never impact the Tony parts of Belmont. It would never impact Barracks Road, Rugby, the Blue Ridge neighborhood, Locust Avenue. And the Gillikins and Stephen Johnsons of the world at Livable CVille said that this density, this new zoning ordinance, would stabilize prices across the city, create affordability, and help the quality of life for the financially margined, the impoverished, and the historically black and brown. And their prediction, their peer pressure, and their bullying of council has done the absolute opposite. It's another indication that Livable CVille was incorrect. And now Charlottesville is dealing with the ramifications. And I hope they hear what I said. Comments continue to come in. Print, radio, and television watching the program. Judah Wickhauer. Comments, put them in the screen. Thoughts, offer them to your fans, and then I'll get to comments.
Yeah, this was not exactly a surprise. As you've mentioned, the lower income housing, people in West Haven, they actually have a redesign coming in their future that the city has agreed to contribute $15 million to, but
No, $15 million to West Haven
West
for
Haven.
the redevelopment of West Haven.
yeah, isn't that what I
Okay.
said?
Okay, you said redesign, and you didn't say specifically.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but there's not much they can do. They can appeal to the bar. The bar is essentially asking for further setbacks
Yeah.
and reduced height, but I don't know that that's going to matter to the people of West Haven once all is said and done. But that's what the new zoning ordinance was set out to provide, was an easier pathway to building structures like this. And what are you going to do about it?
Conan Owen watching the program. He's got a head for business. Martha Friedman, thank you for watching the show. Conan says this: the city and council and city hall should create a student housing zone and get people out of the gentrifying neighborhoods business.
Interesting.
For them to create a student housing zone, Conan, they would need to do a JV or at least be on the same page with the University of Virginia.
That's never going to happen.
That'll never happen. UVA will never listen to the city. The University of Virginia cannot even be peer pressured into a payment in lieu of taxes allocation. I respect that idea, though, Conan Owen, tremendously. Deep Throat's got a zinger for Jamel Bowie. He says it's pretty hilarious that the activists have this weird revenge fantasy about a brutalist human ant farm going into Greenbrier or Rugby Road to the wails and gnashing of the teeth of the rich carpetbaggers that had infiltrated Charlottesville. Instead, it's turned into luxury student housing that's going to shadow West Haven and cost West Haven sunshine and quality of life for 5 months a year. Deep Throat continues, only Michael Payne listened to those of us who said, keep SUPs for big projects. Michael Payne advocated for it. No one else on council listened. And then Deep Throat says, well, heck, maybe New York Times columnist Jamel Bowie, a local activist, can bring his famous bulldozer and take care of the developer's project. But sadly, Jamel Bowie's bulldozer is nothing but a Tonka truck. And he says, to Conan's point, that student housing zone is precisely what the University of Texas of Austin did with the West University area. Think about city council trying to negotiate with the University of Virginia now. City council, let me speak to the president, please. What do you mean? We don't have a president? Jim Ryan's on a 14-month sabbatical, making $1 million a year. He's sipping a Mai Tai with an umbrella in it right now. All right, let me talk to the provost. Provost? What? Juan Diego Wayne, you want to talk to the provost? We don't have a provost. He went to Middlebury. He's the president of Middlebury. Wait, okay, let me talk to the Board of Visitors rector. The Board of Visitors rector, what? She's under lock and key, and she's got a gag order that she can't talk to anyone because Senator Creigh Deeds is investigating her. You can't talk to her. Let me talk to the vice rector. The vice rector, what? She's under gag order too. She can't talk to nobody. All right, can I talk to the CEO of UVA Health? Maybe we can keep the health system from expanding into these gentrified. There's no CEO of UVA Health. All right, let me talk to the dean of the medical. The dean of the medical school, what are you talking about? There's no dean of the medical school, Juan. Can't talk to, let me talk to the CEO of the UVA. You can't talk to UVA CEO of UVA Hospital. There's no one there. Can't talk to the president. Can't talk to the provost. Can't talk to the rector. Can't talk to the vice rector. Can't talk to the CEO of UVA Health. Can't talk to the CEO of UVA Hospital. Can't talk to the dean of the medical school.
Good luck.
Crazy times.
Mm-hmm.
Bill McChesney. West Main has already turned into an apartment canyon. Here's what I find odd about West Main Street. The Standard, Judah, where Potbelly Sandwich Shop was, none of those retail stores at the Standard, none of the storefronts rented. You know what I'm talking about? The Standard?
Yeah.
Potbelly's just announced it's closing. Mm-hmm. It's been vacant since it was launched.
Yeah.
The Standard storefronts. The Flats, where the World of Beer space was, now is Mexicali.
Yeah.
Before friend of the program, Johnny Ornalis, we helped him launch that business, right? Mm-hmm. Before Johnny Ornalis launched Mexicali in the World of Beer spot, that World of Beer location was vacant for years. Years. In that World of Beer Flats shopping center, I think you have like a bodega, a donut connection.
Okay.
And to his point, this apartment tower that's being built, which includes Jeff Levien's 600 West Main that's currently for sale, where the storefronts are also vacant, you got a road that is arguably the most important gateway in Charlottesville because it connects the university with the downtown mall. It connects the corner with the downtown mall. West Main, ladies and gentlemen, the most important gateway in the city of Charlottesville, okay? I'm comfortable on that hill saying it's the most important gateway. It's become an echo chamber of student housing and $2,500 a month to $3,000 a month apartments. It's become a cornucopia of vacant storefronts. And that West Main streetscape, once the prize, the eye of the apple of the eye of Heather Hill and Kathy Galvin, where the University of Virginia was going to contribute money, where VDOT was going to contribute money. City of Charlottesville basically had free money for the West Main Streetscape project from the University of Virginia and VDOT. But Stephen Johnson and Matthew Gillikin went to City Council at the time, I believe this was the Nikiah Walker-led council, and said, you're going to take this free money from VDOT and this free money from UVA, and you're going to tell UVA and VDOT to shove it where the sun don't shine. And then you're going to do this 10-year project on the Buford Middle School and help the kids today that's going to middle school 10 years from now. And it's going to cost you $70 million to do it. And council listened to them too. And now West Main Streetscape is just a cornucopia of vacant storefronts and an echo chamber of $3,000 a month apartments for students on their mommy and daddy's black Amex while driving their Range Rovers, their Bentleys, and their Mercedes-Benz while talking in their $1,500 iPhone 16s while carrying their Hermes, wearing their iWatches, and wearing their Versace. Gone are the days of Jerry wearing rainbow sandals, camo cargo shorts, tank tops, trucker UVA hats on backwards, and scratched up Ray-Bans.
Some might say that's a good thing.
I don't know. Cargo short wearing Jerry with rainbow sandals, a tank top, a backwards UVA trucker hat with scratched up, beat up Ray-Bans versus the Hermes clad, Versace wearing.
They're not all.
Dolce and Gabbana donning, Rolex sporting, Range Rover driving UVA student? Okay. Evidently, the Range Rover, Hermes, Versace, Dolce, and Gabbana is the circle judo runs in. I'll take the cargo shorts, the rainbow sandals, and the tank top any day of the week and twice on Sunday. It's 1:30. We got to go make some money. We got to do some deals here. What other headlines do we got on this docket today? Dude, the John Reed campaign is absolutely relentless in texting me.
Oh, yeah? They want to get back on the show?
They are relentless in texting me. Do we let bygones be bygones and forgive them for ghosting us 8 hours before an interview that we promoted for a week and bring John Reed on the program? Or do we draw a hard line in the sand and say, no?
Content is content.
I like just sitting here talking with you sometimes, Judah. I mean, you're so loquacious and charming and conversational. It's like I would miss that.
When I can get a pry bar in between your...
You're going to choose monologue or diatribe?
Oh, they both work.
Monologue has positive connotations. Diatribe has negative connotations.
Yeah, more or less.
John Blair says, I'm curious. Jeff Levien's ad says no downtown unit price pressure on 600 West Main. What does this mean about the plans for the old bus station? Wasn't the old bus station, the Greyhound station? It was a deal brokered, and we got the Tallheimer team watching the program right now. A deal was brokered between Johnny Pritzloff and Matt Green. So it was an in-house deal done. Matt Green can bench press more than any broker in Central Virginia, residential or commercial.
I'm sure that helps him in
His client, Anthony Woodard, who's a grizzly bear, an absolute tank animal in the weight room. The man, I would stack Anthony Woodard's deadlift up with anyone in Central Virginia. Matt Green brokers a deal with Johnny Pritzloff for the Greyhound building. Woodard owns that. I think if it was my guess, Anthony and Woodard are just going to land bank the Greyhound and just sit on it. They got a steal of a price. Wasn't it like $1.4 million, Johnny? Was it $1.4 million, Matt Green? Something like that. It's a steal of a price. I think they're just going to sit on it, land bank it, and then 15 years from now, that 1.4 is going to be like 3.5. Vanessa Parkhill says, Jerry, forgive him. Bring John Reed on the show, the Queen of Earlysville says. John Shabe watching the program, the owner of Pro Renata. John Shabe's a good man. Philip Dow, Mayor of Scottsville. Logan Wells Clayla, welcome to the broadcast. Got commercial and residential brokers watching on the show left and right. Financiers, developers, landlords watching the program. Janice Boyce Trevelyan says, I would love to hear from John Reed. Forgive him, Jerry. It's Judah who says, F this guy. You know why you're coughing like that is because you smoke too much.
Oh, okay.
You gotta quit smoking.
I've heard you cough.
Convert to vape, if anything. That's the only thing I think I dislike of you.
Alrighty then.
I know there's many things that you dislike of me, and I'm okay with that.
I know.
I am who I am. There's many qualities that I admire of you. Your consistent demeanor and mood, your reliability, your honesty, your predictability. You are who you are, and you're that person every single day of the week. And that's a talent and a skill. I respect that, envy that quality of you, frankly. I sincerely mean that. I do not embody that quality. The only thing I dislike is the smoking.
All right.
And I say that from a good place. Because you want to live long. And it's expensive. Take the cost of the cigarette and put it into an index fund and see what happens. You're probably spending thousands of dollars a year killing yourself. Jason Noble, who are you kidding, Jerry? There's still lots of rainbow sandals at UVA. I know there are. I know there are.
Yeah.
My point is this. From when I was at UVA to what UVA is now, the student profile, the socioeconomic status of the student is completely different. I'm not even sure that I could have afforded to attend UVA now.
I think most people at UVA are probably saying the same thing.
I don't think so. Maybe some. I sincerely mean this. Coming through, if I had matriculated from high school in Williamsburg now and was a rising senior in high school, or a rising junior when you were applying early and doing the applications or whatever, I'm not even sure my family could afford UVA now. I think it would have been go 2 years to a community college and then go to like a UVA for the final 2 years. We didn't come from deep pockets. I'm not saying we grew up poor. I'm just saying we didn't come from deep pockets. Vanessa Parkhill, bring John Reed on, hold him accountable, move forward, and let the voters hear what he has to say and let them vote accordingly. Jonathan says, Jerry, you have a platform. It's your responsibility to use that platform for the good. John Reed should come on the show. Good night.
There you go.
Gracious. Rob Stockhausen, when are you going to come on the program? Rob Stockhausen is a phenomenal padel player. Rob, you got the touch of a jeweler. Rob, you got the hands of Roger Federer. Love Rob Stockhausen. The standard was required by the city to have retail on ground floor. I think they even figured I think they figured even if it never really made sense, it was just a cost of approval. That's from Deep Throat. We're going to have to save some of these. Ginny Who says, there's no way I would be able to afford it now, UVA. Yeah, I don't think my parents would be able to afford it now. And in the end, it was me doing it. I don't think I would have been. I think it would have probably have been like a Piedmont Community College for a couple years, get a certain GPA, and then get in. Holly Foster, let John Reed come on. We want Judah to live longer. Please cut back on your smoking, Judah. I've been saying it to him for 16 years. Is it a pack a day? Am I putting you in a tough spot?
I'm not getting into
I'm coming at this from a good place. It just happens to be in front of a lot of people. Okay? But it's from a good place. The only thing I would change, sincerely mean that, you have like 10 dozen things you would change of me.
I don't know about that.
Come on. You know that's true. All right. Let's give the Vermilions some love. We saw the Vermilions today.
Mm-hmm.
John Vermillion and Andrew Vermillion at Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. You know what strikes me about that store, Judah?
What's that?
Is that store is as much a sanitary supply store as much as keeping the swimming pools, the water in swimming pools healthy and blue and clean, as much as having a mechanic on site that fixes and repairs vacuums. It's almost like a melting pot of Charlottesville.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
It's like a coffee shop almost.
Yeah, you see everybody. I mean, people coming in bringing pool water to get assessed, people coming in for to have an old vacuum repaired or checked out.
They got the janitorial staffs coming in, buying the supplies for some of these big assisted living facilities or these big apartment complexes locally. The janitorial staff. They got the janitorial staff of like small business owners that own janitorial staffs. Mm-hmm. They got the folks that have swimming pools in their yards. They got folks that spend $1,000 coming in and buying brand new Miele vacuums.
Yeah.
It is literally the entire socioeconomic spectrum of Central Virginia in that store. And they've been around for 61 years. They're 3 generations of family. And the family that runs and operates it has lived in Albemarle County for 5 generations. Charlottesville Sanitary Supply and online at charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com.
And John and Andrew know all those people.
No, by first name.
Yeah.
And what their hobbies and interests are.
Yeah.
It is literally like every time I go in there, I'm like, this is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely incredible. Headlines? Did we get to any not get to any headlines today? Because I got to close some deals here.
I think we left a few of them off.
What are the few we left out here? We've gone 71 minutes without taking a commercial break. Does anybody else locally do this? No. No one else locally does this.
I think the only 2 that we really missed out on was the UVA ghosting Creigh deeds and
I'm just going to keep putting that headline in the rundown. The UVA Board of Visitors is ghosting Creigh deeds to kind of like poke and prod. I'm going to keep putting that in there. Creigh deeds, you're being ghosted, dude. What are you doing about it?
I don't know if I agree.
I'm going to keep poking and prodding that City Council in September has the opportunity to push policy or approve policy to clean up the downtown mall where they can repossess the possessions of the houseless that are sleeping downtown. Does council have that nutsack to make that move? I mean, maybe I should have positioned that differently. Does council have the chutzpah and the tenacity and the courage and the thick skinness? That's better than nutsack.
The problem is it's...
Sorry, I said nutsack.
There's no good way to implement that.
I know.
Because you're essentially saying...
how's it any different than what they did below Free Bridge, Judah?
What?
How's it any different than what they did below Free Bridge with the police? And utilizing the police to move the homeless from under Free Bridge.
Because ostensibly they could say that they moved the people from Free Bridge because it could potentially be dangerous. Somebody falls asleep, there's a heavy rain, there's
a heavy rain on the downtown mall.
There's a flash flood,
someone
which
falls
you're not
asleep
going
downtown.
to see on the downtown mall.
The fountain at Central Place floods and drowns the people sleeping on the mall. Okay, How about just the safety of children and their parents while walking downtown?
But that's anecdotal and not even, I don't even know if it's anecdotal. Is there any proof that
Is there
women
any
or children
proof that
have
folks that are sleeping on the downtown mall are causing safety concerns for parents and kids, taxpayers, and downtown mall goers? Did you just ask me that question? Did you, with a straight face, ask the viewers and listeners this question? Is there any proof that the homeless that are sleeping downtown are causing safety concerns for those that patronize the downtown mall? Is that what you asked straight-faced?
concerns are a different matter than actual safety?
Okay. Well,
And if you vote for something like what you're proposing, you're essentially saying that, hey, we want this to happen. We are going to pass it along to the police to take care of.
Bill McChesney buys vacuum bags and parts and N95 masks from John and Andrew at Charlottesville Sanitary Supply.
Nice.
Viewers and listeners, I'll leave you at this. Judah Wickhauer says there is no proof that the homeless are causing quality of life concerns or safety concerns in downtown Charlottesville.
You're twisting things.
I'm not twisting things. That's what you said.
There's a difference between concerns and actual safety issues. I understand what you're saying. I don't think you're necessarily wrong, but you're talking about concerns. Of course, people have concerns. We know that people have concerns.
I don't want to insult you, but
come on. I never insulted you. I never started to insult you. I know.
You literally said you're not wrong, but
yeah. Just because you say that people have concerns about the downtown mall doesn't mean that there are actual safety issues. You have to prove the safety issues.
The 50-year anniversary of the downtown mall is next year.
Yeah.
Do you want to celebrate the 50-year anniversary of the downtown mall?
Do I want to?
Do you want to celebrate the 50-year anniversary of the downtown mall in the best plan possible?
Yeah, of course. I know.
And you know what needs to be done. And every viewer and listener that's watching this program knows what needs to be done.
Okay.
And whether they have the gumption or the courage or the nuts to say it like I say it is a different story. Okay? And that's why they watch the show. It's not to agree with me. It's not to disagree with me. I want you, the viewer and listener, to feel something when watching this program. Feel something. Feel something. I think we did it today. Judah Wickhauer, Jerry Miller, the I Love CVille Show on a Wednesday.